Okay. Let's go back to this. We did the refuge chanting in Tibetan, phonetic one. Sangye Chudam Tsuki Chunana Chanju Bandu Dani Jazunje Dagi Shinzungi Bezunamangi Drula Pinji Sangye Chudam Tsungi Chunana Chanju Bardu Dani Gyazunje Dagi Injin Zungi Sunamangi Drula Benji Zangi Drubara Shu Zangi Chudam Tsungi Chunamala Chanju Bardu Dani Gyazunji Dagi Jinsogi Be Sunamangi Drula Benji Zangi Drubara. Showed silent meditation at this moment, in just trying to create physical harmonies and mental harmonies. And then gradually bringing the intention, feeling the presence of yourself and presence of a surrounding phenomena. Then let going the fear and doubt related with the past and future. Then gradually bringing your attention to reflecting into the equanimity practice. Based on the equanimity practice, bringing the feeling of a compassion. Then based on this, cultivating bodhicitta mind, based on this bodhicitta meditation, mental image of a visualization of the object of refuge, visualizing at the right space, and then gradually bringing resultant refuge, that feeling towards to the object of refuge. And that becomes a fundamental foundation for generating conviction. Furthermore, devotion towards the resultant refuge and conviction towards the resultant refuge. So then we go back to the text. Based on this process that we went, let's do the refuge recitation. Come on, this. Let's do this several times together. Yeah.
Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha.
Okay. So, in the end of the page number 7, that I want to give you the oral transmission first. So, same like we'll do it before. Repeat after me, okay? Namo,
Namo,
Guru,
Guru,
Bia,
Bia,
Namo,
Namo,
Buddha,
Buddha,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Dharma,
Dharma,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Sangha,
Sangha,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Guru,
Guru,
Bia,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Buddha,
Buddha,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Dharma,
Dharma,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Sangha,
Sangha,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Guru,
Guru,
Bia,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Buddha,
Buddha,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Dharma,
Dharma,
Ya,
Ya,
Namo,
Namo,
Sangha,
Sangha.
Ya. Okay, and the next one, okay. La mala,
La mala,
kyapsuchu,
Kechusu,
sangela,
Sangela,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
chöla,
Chala,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
gendula,
Gengula,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
la mala,
La mala,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
sangela,
Sangila,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
chöla,
Chala,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
gendula,
Gendula,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
la mala,
La mala,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
sangela,
Sangila,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
chöla,
Chala,
kyapsuchu,
Kesuchu,
gendula,
Gendula,
kyapsuchu.
Kesuchu.
Okay. Let's recite together. Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya. Sangaya, Namo Gurubhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo 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 Sangaya. So silently, you can we go for reciting the refuge, and at the same time, first maybe keep the recitation rhythm, and then bringing your attention to the rhythm of the recitation, and taking that energy, bringing back to your visualization of the refuge, and the generating of the feeling of the faith and conviction. Okay, you need to bring in from that mantra recitation rhythm, that kind of consistency of a rhythm, and then bringing that energy towards to your visualization, and then you kind of like your recitation becomes kind of secondary, your concentration and your attention much more towards to the visualization of the object of refuge, and then gradually, while you are reciting, then receiving blessing of the body, speech, and mind, and purifying negativity, karma related with the body, speech, and mind. And during this kind of circumstances, if there's anything that you want to forgiveness practice, any kind of like something that you're not able to let go, visualize all the blessing and the nectars descending and purifying, losing that up, opening up, and ultimately, karma related with the body, karma related with the speech, karma related with the mental, purifying through the object of refuge, receiving blessing in your own mantra recitation. So combination together, that kind of visualization. Okay, so to make it clear, reciting the mantra silently through this, generating this energy or vibration becomes the condition for visualization to re-bringing back stillness there. And then through that, this kind of like a blessing, receiving, and purifying. Okay, let's do that. Okay, gradually bringing back the mantra vibration and the mantra energy. Refuge mantra, okay. Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Okay. So let's go back to the today where we left this morning part of the Ngondro. Yeah, the second part, yeah. I think this one, the second one. Did we finish the third one or not? No, let's do this, yeah. Third one.
Yo y todos los seres sintientes madres, desde este momento sin principio hasta el momento presente, hemos experimentado completamente los muchos sufrimientos del samsara en general y específicamente los de los dos, tres. Sin embargo, aún no es fácil entender completamente la profundidad y el alcance del sufrimiento que debemos soportar. Continue.
Maybe again, same like we do before.
Okay.
Again, we do one more time slowly, and then reflection.
Yo y todos los seres sintientes madres, desde el nacimiento sin principio hasta el momento presente, hemos experimentado completamente los muchos sufrimientos del samsara en general y específicamente los de los tres estados inferiores. Sin embargo, aún no es fácil entender completamente la profundidad y el alcance del sufrimiento que debemos soportar.
So this moment, willing to free from samsara. Suffering and cause of suffering. Not only that, cycle of suffering, same thing again and again. Cycle of cause of suffering, same thing again and again. This suffering of a samsara comes from wrong expectation. Expectation itself is not necessarily have to be wrong, but the expectation was engaging in the wrong area, wrong object. happiness is coming from something externally. Once we look the happiness of an individual life is coming from some outside, then that is the main condition of a cycle of suffering. Once we get the realization, it cannot bring the happiness. That expectation is a wrong expectation. We have to right for happiness. We have a right to expect happiness. But in the wrong direction. Without non-depending for external things. Independently, there's a happiness that we can experience, not at all. Is that doing the same thing again and again is a suffering? Not the action itself is not the suffering. The suffering, how the mind is related with that action, that repeating again and again. One, the way the mind related with that doesn't become appropriate, balance, that becomes action, becomes suffering. One of the main conditions for suffering is within our own self. One of the main conditions for happiness is within our own self. With the interdependent of the external phenomena. So at this moment, acknowledging such a realization, acknowledging such an awareness, the method that presented by Buddha, way to overcome from those suffering. Wisdom, which is taught it by the Buddha, way to overcoming from those suffering. Individual practitioners who have gone through this realization So this moment, meditation into a Buddha nature of yourself. Can I be liberated from suffering and cause of suffering? Moment of transmission in our experience is a tasting the Buddha nature. Fundamentally, I want to liberate from suffering, and I can liberate from suffering. I need to put in the right condition and right action. So may I able to do this and blessed by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by object of refuge. Okay. So let's go to the next. Yeah, same like before.
Pero ahora tengo un buen cuerpo humano, completamente dotado con las 8 clases de tiempo libre y las 10 circunstancias conducentes a la práctica del Dharma. Este cuerpo, no fácilmente obtenible, una vez obtenido puede usarse de manera correcta, pues con él puedo trabajar hacia un renacimiento más elevado, el nirvana, o aún el estado de Buda. Además, tengo la buena fortuna de haber encontrado el Dharma, cuya presencia es tan difícil conseguir. Habiendo obtenido estas condiciones tan favorables, si no trabajo para obtener la iluminación completa, sobrepasando el nirvana y libre de todo sufrimiento, si no trato de obtener esto ahora mismo, en este momento, otra vez tendré que pasar por todos los sufrimientos del samsara en general, específicamente los sufrimientos de los 3 estados inferiores. Por lo tanto, como el poder de protección de todos estos sufrimientos depende de ti y está en tus manos, oh mi gurú, a ti y a las 3 joyas de refugio que visualizo frente a mí, prometo esforzarme por obtener la budeidad ahora para que pueda beneficiar a todos los seres sintientes madres. Con este propósito, ahora tomo refugio en ti, sagrado gurú, y en las 3 joyas. Pero ahora tengo un buen cuerpo humano, completamente dotado con las 8 clases de tiempo libre y las 10 circunstancias conducentes a la práctica del Dharma. Este cuerpo, no fácilmente obtenible, una vez obtenido puede usarse de manera correcta o trabajar hacia un renacimiento más elevado, el nirvana, o aún el estado de Buda. Además, tengo la buena fortuna de haber encontrado el Dharma, cuya presencia es tan difícil conseguir. Habiendo obtenido estas condiciones tan favorables, si no trabajo para obtener la iluminación completa, sobrepasando el nirvana y libre de todo sufrimiento. Y si no trato de obtener esto ahora mismo, en este momento, otra vez tendré que pasar por todos los sufrimientos del samsara en general y específicamente los sufrimientos de los 3 estados inferiores. Como el poder de protección de todos estos sufrimientos depende de ti y está en tus manos, oh mi gurú, a ti y a las 3 joyas de refugio que visualizo frente a mí, prometo esforzarme por obtener la budeidad ahora para que pueda beneficiar a todos los seres sintientes madres. Con este propósito, ahora tomo refugio en ti, sagrado gurú, y en las 3 joyas.
So at this moment, the main point over here, generating the self-confidence. I have the cause and conditions, being born at a precious human rebirth, and so on and so forth, having all the wisdoms, all the necessary internal and external conditions are there. So generating sense of feeling, if not today, then when? If not now, then when? Based on this strong self-conviction, generate the faith towards to the object of refuge. Based on that faith, visualize the object of refuge one more time. Based on those conditions. One more time, let's recite the refuge, okay?
Tomo refugio en mi gurú, tomo refugio en el Buda, tomo refugio en el Dharma, tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi gurú, Tomo refugio en el Buda. Tomo refugio en el Dharma. Tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi Gurú. Tomo refugio en el Buda. Tomo refugio en el Dharma. Tomo refugio en la Sangha.
More refuge in the Buddha. Good. Yeah, one more several times. Recite several times.
Tomo refugio en mi Gurú. Tomo refugio en el Buda. Tomo refugio en el Dharma. Tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi Gurú. Tomo refugio en el Buda. Tomo refugio en el Dharma. Tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi Gurú. Tomo refugio en el Buda. Tomo refugio en el Dharma. Tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi Gurú. Tomo refugio en el Buda. Tomo refugio en el Dharma. Tomo refugio en la Sangha. Tomo refugio en mi Gurú. Tomo refugio en el Buda. Tomo refugio en el Dharma. Tomo refugio en la Sangha.
Okay. So for me, when you recite in Spanish, I feel like Sanskrit and English mixed. For me. So now over here, when you're doing the refuge accumulation, once you're starting doing in Spanish, and then keep the consistency in Spanish. Once you're doing in a Sanskrit, Namo Gurubhyo Namo Buddhaya Namo Dhammaya Namo Sanghaya, then keep a consistency with that. Okay. Of course, when you change, it can make a much more interesting. That's true. Like sometimes when you recite, can I do my whole refuge Ngondro accumulation based on sometime I do in a Spanish, sometime I do in a Tibetan, sometime I do in a Sanskrit. Okay. I think a purpose is all the refuge. You're expressing refuge in Sanskrit, in Spanish, in Tibetan, the same thing. But here is we are bringing some kind of discipline into the practice. It's not about creating some kind of interesting transform. It is there's a discipline is some kind of like a discipline and consistency and a focus is one of the what we trying to come out from the Ngondro practice. So therefore, this is again the initial discipline. Okay, but now what I will suggest, this is up to individual. Maybe sometime at the beginning to bringing that energy, sometime without counting. And I think right before, once when you're doing in a retreat or when you're doing your time to Ngondro accumulation, revision accumulation, and when you have a time as a warm-up for accumulating the mantra, then sometime exchanging, from the Sanskrit to Spanish, or for me from Sanskrit to Tibetan is good. Then actual when kind of bring up that kind of strength, and then actual accumulation. Then whatever you are doing, then starting from there. Sometimes that's also good. But what you shouldn't do is accumulating a little bit in Sanskrit, a little bit in Spanish, maybe in Tibet. Maybe don't do that. Keep it that consistency. Okay. 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 So then now what we're going to do, so So now we are in a refuge in a bodhicitta practice. Okay, so let's take a, now after lunch, little bit, okay, let's take a 4-minute, no. Let's take a 10-minute break. Let's take a 10-minute break. Stretch yourself, get fresh. Okay, then we'll come back again. Then we'll go to the next part of it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do short dedication, and then we take a break.
Hacemos la dedicación y luego nos levantamos y podemos hacer. Que por los méritos de esta virtud pueda alcanzar rápidamente el estado de un Guru Buda y pueda llevar a este estado a todo ser sin excepción. La mente de iluminación es suprema y muy preciada, que donde no ha surgido surja, que donde ha surgido no disminuya, que cobre cada vez más fuerza. La visión correcta del vacío es suprema y muy preciada, que donde no ha surgido surja, que donde ha surgido no disminuya, que cobre cada vez más fuerza. Así como el valiente Manjushri y Samantabhadra distinguieron los fenómenos tal cual son, yo también dedico estos méritos en la mejor forma, siguiendo su ejemplo perfecto. Dedico todas estas raíces de virtud con la dedicación que es considerada la mejor por los victoriosos asidos de los 3 tiempos para poder realizar todas las buenas obras.
Okay. Is important. And then later on, when there comes 3 times, maybe 1 time recite, and the most of the time keep this feeling inside you more stronger. And maybe 1 time recite, and second and third much more kind of like an internal recitation rather than verbal recitation. That's kind of, I think, so you don't energy so much doesn't use with the sound. So basically, 1 time external recitation and 2 time internal recitation. Basically, what I'm saying is that our purpose is to getting very used to it, to purpose to getting the point into our message, getting the message very clear, getting the point very clear. Okay, that's the purpose. And once we have that kind of like a settled, then 3 time recitation, and these things comes 1 time and verbal recitation, 2 time internal recitation. So you go through a kind of deepening. It is basically saying, this is the sign of saying that this is very important. You need to pay attention again. This is the kind of signal. It's not to, just the point is saying this is a very important part of the, practice. This is very important. That's the signal, okay? So that's keep it in mind. So now we'll do the same thing with the 4 immeasurable practice, okay? We'll recite each immeasurable 1 time, okay? 1 time, and then second and third, you're trying to generating that feeling. Go through the points. I think each immeasurable have 4 points, and going through each kind of recognizing those points and trying to generating that. Then we'll go to the next one. Recite 1 time, external recitation 1 time, internal recitation 2 times. Okay, that way, okay. Let's do that.
¿Entendieron? Lo vamos a recitar una vez y después en silencio lo recitamos 2 veces. Qué maravilloso sería si todos los seres sensibles pueden permanecer imparciales, sin predisposiciones, sin tener apegos ni rechazos iracundos, sin sentirse cerca de algunos y distantes de otros, que puedan permanecer siempre así, que pueda yo ser causa de que permanezcan siempre así. Concédanos, por favor, su fortaleza inspiradora, oh divinos y santos gurús, para poder realizarlo.
Okay.
Qué maravilloso sería si todos los seres sensibles estuvieran dotados de felicidad y de las causas, que siempre la tengan, que sea yo la causa de que la tengan. Concédanme, por favor, su fortaleza inspiradora, oh divinos y santos gurús, para poder realizarlo.
Okay.
Qué maravilloso sería si todos los seres sensibles fueran liberados del sufrimiento y de las causas del sufrimiento, que siempre sean libres así, que sea yo la causa de esa liberación. Concédame, por favor, su fuerza inspiradora, oh divinos y santos gurús, para poder realizarlo.
Okay.
Qué maravilloso sería que todos los seres sensibles nunca fueran alejados de los renacimientos superiores o de la liberación completa, que nunca sean alejados de estos estados, que yo pueda ser causa de que nunca sean alejados de estos estados. Concédeme, por favor, su fuerza inspiradora, oh divinos y santos gurús, para poder lograrlo.
Okay. So, in the many practice, you can see refuge in bodhicitta and a four immeasurable practice. They go side by side quite often. Okay. So maybe what that makes your question. Can I do refuge Ngondro by the longer version, this refuge in bodhicitta? So here, when you're doing the refuge Ngondro, I think the best to do the, as before one, going for refuge Buddha, Guru, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, very focused one. And but this one, refuge in bodhicitta, this refuge is a minor refuge. If you're able to accumulate it minor refuge, it's a good, excellent, is excellent. But traditionally, traditionally, what individual they do is when you're doing the mandala accumulation, and then we do this refuge in bodhicitta. It have a one verse, and the mandala have a one verse. Basically, two verse. So you integrated these two verse with the accumulation, with the mandala accumulation. So it have a, so because, it becomes kind of like a very profound and practical. Profound because you're integrating refuge in bodhicitta. Practical also, mandala offering, it occupies space and time because of the things that you have to integrate it. So from that point of view, two verse integrating with the mandala accumulation it works very well. Not only, it's not just purposeful working and kind of like a practical, but it becomes much more profound, okay? So it's refuge in bodhicitta, most time integrated the mandala accumulation. Now, when you refuge accumulation, most time you just do the refuge of Guru, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Okay, that's one thing. Okay. So then, what the title say? This long title. What this is this?
At the end of this section, dissolve the metaphor of Shakyamuni.
Okay. Dissolution. Okay, dissolution. Okay. So now, when you're doing like a Guru Yoga Ngondro accumulation, then not necessarily you have to go through all this one, this chapter of the object of refuge we visualize, and we went through this process, not necessarily. When you're doing the Guru Yoga Ngondro accumulation, if you can, it's good. It's good. If you went through this one, it's excellent, good. But still, when you're going through, anyway, when you're doing the Guru Yoga Ngondro accumulation, you already done the 100,000 refuge, so you have the strong foundation. So therefore, you're starting with the refuge in bodhicitta in the four immeasurable practice. So you can do that way. So the practice was organized with the whole thing this practice was organized from the structure of a jorcha, preliminary practice. And preliminary practice goes through this kind of consistency, refuge practice. Then the 7 limb practice is related with the merit field. It's kind of like a structure-wise. So, when this will be more when you're doing the Guru Yoga accumulation. You can start from the refuge in Buddhist, the 4 immeasurable, and then Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, and go through that. Okay. And also with the refuge. Refuges I think is okay. You can go exactly how that is. I think you can do at the beginning. So also kind of like making, doing at the beginning also good. When you have a time, you go through the. So basically this way. Let me put this way. If you want to have a really strong session, let me put you have a weekend. And the weekend, then you go through all these things, other practice, and don't dissolve. Don't dissolve this one over here, session of a dissolving of a refuge. Then don't do that. When you have a time to doing the whole practice of a Ngondro, okay? Then don't do the dissolution process. Go through the Guru Yoga, then do the accumulation at the last. Okay. So basically, if you have a limited time, okay, and then basically do this accumulation, go through the minor reflection bodhicitta, more stronger, 4 immeasurable, then dissolved. Okay? Is it clear? More question? I'm making more flexibility. Yeah, when you are going to do basically 2 versions I'm trying to make it. Refuge Ngondro. Once you are really busy, I don't want you to and jump in car. And not also you need to think, oh, I have a 4-page to do. Or 5 pages to do. So maybe you will because all these experience years, I feel like students are like feeling, these Ngondro things are driving me crazy. Okay, so we're trying to, in basically 2 things. When you are really busy, okay, go through this one. And do the refuge, accumulate it, then refuge, and 4 immeasurable, dissolve the refuge field, and dedicate. So you have a very reasonable space, meaning included, space to accumulate it. Okay. Now, when you want to, you see some space and time. You have time, some you can. Then go through all these things. Don't dissolve. Don't do this. Go through Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, everything. Then do the accumulation, some mantra accumulation, and then do that one. Okay. So you have a little bit more time. You doesn't dissolve. Basically, refuge and merit field you keep in one way, and you're doing basically Ngondro practice, really integration with the refuge field and the merit field together, and that's usually much more powerful. Okay. So that's the one. So in a 2-way to look at it. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. It's clear and better.
One question. This is only for the refuge accumulation.
Refuge accumulation.
Just for
Refuge accumulation. Refuge accumulation.
Okay.
Okay. So then we will talk the Guru Yoga accumulation. We'll talk now next. Okay. 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 So now let's go to the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. So, as a last class, I mentioned lineage becomes important. So, Guru Yoga, when you're doing the lineage, and over here we're going through the lineage of Lama Tsongkhapa, so integrating Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga becomes important. Okay. So now over here, part of this Guru Yoga, Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, visualization is quite simple, and based on that, 7 limb practice is integrated. So there's 2 things. So keep that very strong. Okay. So we can go maybe verse by verse. Maybe we recite one verse one time, just trying to digest, reflect it, and then we go to one by one. Okay. Yeah.
Desde el corazón del protector de los cientos de deidades de la tierra de la bienaventuranza, viene una nube que asemeja a una masa cuajada blanca y fresca. Omnisciente Lobsang-Drakpa, Rey del Dharma, junto con tus hijos te pido que vengas aquí ahora.
Okay, so we'll go next.
Oh venerables gurus, con sonrisas blancas de deleite, sentados en tronos de leones, luna y loto, en el espacio frente a mí, pido que permanezcan por cientos de eones para que puedan diseminar las enseñanzas y sean el supremo campo de mérito para mi mente fiel.
Okay.
Sus mentes tienen el intelecto que comprende todo lo que puede ser conocido. Sus palabras con sus explicaciones excelentes se convierten en adornos para el oído de aquellos con buena fortuna. Sus cuerpos son radiantemente hermosos, con gloria reconocida. Me postro ante ustedes a quienes es valioso apoyar, escuchar y recordar.
Okay. Then.
Agradables ofrendas de agua, flores variadas e incienso fragante, luz y aguas perfumadas, un océano de ofrendas reales visualizadas tal cual nubes. Yo presento a ustedes, oh supremo campo de mérito.
Okay.
Cualquier acto no virtuoso de la palabra o de la mente que yo haya acumulado desde tiempo sin comienzo, y especialmente cualquier transgresión a mis 3 votos, yo los confieso una y otra vez con respeto ferviente desde mi corazón.
Okay.
Desde lo más profundo de nuestros corazones nos regocijamos, oh protectores, en las grandes ondas de sus acciones. Ustedes, quienes se esforzaron por aprender y practicar en esta era degenerada y que le dieron sentido a la vida, abandonando los 8 sentimientos mundanos.
Okay.
Oh sagrados y venerables Rama, desde las nubes de compasión que se forman en los cielos de tu sabiduría dharmakāyica, por favor, libera una lluvia de Dharma vasto y profundo, de acuerdo precisamente con las necesidades de aquellos que serán adiestrados.
Okay.
Dedico cualquier virtud que haya sido acumulada para el beneficio de las enseñanzas y de todos los seres sensibles, y en particular para que las enseñanzas del venerable Loksatrapa brille por siempre.
Okay. So I'll do the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga oral transmission. So I received from my teacher. Ganden la ge gonje to gane wa jose bonje chunzen zen chuje je bu gunje no san cha setan che ba nen de shi su su dungi nanga sinjen benden de juzu lama ge be zong ban je ndalo de pe sonum jin jo do demba ge je ga ge shu su su shi ji kyungun je lo jo do ge san na we gen ge le je zo cha be be je han min ze be ku tong de den be ten den la cha se 용 나zo 메도단 지진도 변화상 지저서 오심리도 추린겨서 대 수능신 축혈라 줘봐 부 가지 도면 되는 사바에 동아이 숨이기 지게단 개발동 버스미미도 닝네 줘봐 잡을 소소라자 닝면도 대망도 돌아서 최제방 배든 전된 공부지야 남전자 만난다자 삼바타베 이랑고 지수 라마 담바게는 주구역할 켄센팅되는 지다선 배두지즈마 sabge chuki chaba abdusu dagi jinye sabe gewa de dendondo wa kun kamena kebra jizolo san tembe ningbo rindu seje shu tembe ningbo rindu seje shu okay. So maybe okay. Okay, that's okay. So now we go for the mandala offering. Okay.
Vajra Bhumya Hum. Aquí se encuentra la base de oro poderosa. Om Vajra Rekyea Hum. Aquí se encuentra la cerca diamantina. El círculo exterior está rodeado por esta cerca de hierro. En el centro se encuentra el monte Meru, el rey de las montañas. En el este se encuentra el continente Videha. En el sur, el continente Jambudvipa. En el oeste, en el norte, el continente Kuru. Encontramos alrededor del este los subcontinentes Deha y Videha. Alrededor del sur, los subcontinentes Cámara y Aparacámara. Alrededor del oeste, los subcontinentes Shata y Uttaramantrina. Alrededor del norte, los subcontinentes Kuru y Kurava. Al este está la montaña de los tesoros. Al sur, el árbol que concede los deseos. Al oeste, la vaca que concede los deseos. Al norte se encuentra la cosecha de maíz aún no arada. Aquí encontramos la rueda preciosa, la joya preciosa, la reina preciada, el ministro preciado, el elefante preciado, el caballo preciado, el general preciado y el gran jarro de los tesoros. Aquí se encuentra la diosa de la belleza, la diosa de las guirnaldas, la diosa de la canción, la diosa de la danza, la diosa de las flores, la diosa del incienso, la diosa de la luz y la diosa del perfume. Aquí se encuentra el sol, la luna, la sombrilla y de todo lo que es precioso y preciado, y el banderín de la victoria en todas las direcciones. Aquí en el centro están todas las posesiones preciadas de los dioses y los humanos. Esta magnífica y gloriosa colección, donde no falta nada, yo te ofrezco a ti, mi bondadoso Gurú, junto a todos los venerables del linaje, y a ti, la Mayeson Kappa, y a ti, oh Buda, y a ti, Vasharadhara, junto a la asamblea completa de dioses, que por su compasión enorme y poderosa acepten lo que ofrezco como causa para mejorar el estado de todos los seres sintientes. Derramen sobre mí ondas de inspiración para que yo pueda vivir de acuerdo al noble ejemplo que ustedes han dado. Tomo refugio en las tres preciosas joyas y en mi gurú y hago esta súplica. Envíeme olas de fuerza inspiradora. Inspírenme ahora y a todos los seres madres para finalizar todos los estados distorsionados de la mente, tal como ser irrespetuoso en lo más mínimo con los preciosos gurús, e insistir en que todos nosotros mismos somos verdaderamente diferentes de los demás. Envíennos olas de fuerza inspiradora para desarrollar rápidamente los verdaderos estados de la mente, que especialmente incluyen demostrar respeto a los gurús. Envíennos olas de fuerza inspiradora para aclarar los obstáculos externos e internos a nuestra práctica del Dharma.
Okay, now the requests. Yeah, requested.
Petition and homage. Glorioso y precioso Gurú Raíz, por favor, toma tu asiento de loto y luna en mi coronilla y manténme protegido en tu gran bondad. Concédeme los logros poderosos de tu cuerpo, palabra y mente sagrado. Avalokiteshvara, el gran tesoro de la compasión. Manjushri, Señor de la sabiduría perfecta. Vasharapani, destructor de las hordas de maras. Tsongkhapa, joya de la corona de los sabios de la tierra de las nieves. Loksadrapa, yo imploro a tus sagrados pies. Ojos para ver todas las vastas enseñanzas, portal supremo hacia la liberación para los afortunados, utilizando métodos hábiles para amorosamente subyugar a los amigos espirituales que iluminan, hago peticiones. Que no surja ni tan siquiera por un momento duda en nuestras mentes acerca de las acciones del glorioso Gurú. Cualquier acción que surja como pura, con devoción que recibamos en nuestro corazón las bendiciones del Gurú.
Okay. So, I'm going to give a oral transmission of Lama Tsongkhapa, the Mixima oral transmission. So, maybe Mixima, just repeat after me, that'll be good, okay? So, palm hands together, and reflect the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, integration with the 7-limb practice. Okay. So repeat after me. Okay. Mingme,
Mine,
Tsewe,
Sere,
Terchin,
Tesi,
Jinre,
Chinre,
Si,
Zi,
Time,
Time,
Kembe,
Kembe,
Wongbo,
Wombo,
Jambe,
Chambe,
Yang,
Yam,
Dubon,
Dubon,
Malu,
Malu,
Jomze,
Jomze,
Sanwe,
Sanye,
Da,
Da,
Kanjin,
Tanje,
Kebe,
Kebe,
Zugin,
Suchen,
Zonka,
Sanka,
Ba,
Pa,
Losang,
Losan,
Chakbe,
Tape,
Shabla,
Shapa,
Sowa,
Soa,
Deb.
De,
Okay. So, so over here, some of the mantra was integrated, and the mantra is related with yidams. Okay. So if individual haven't received any kind of initiation or empowerment, then, but still you can do a Guru Yoga. It's not, you don't have to have, to doing Guru Yoga, you have to have empowerment. It's not necessarily. So the key point over here in the Tantra practice, how you say, Guru in Yidam, oneness, non-dual, unity, is one of the important part of the practice of a Tantra. That's the kind of like the culture, or that's the kind of like the view of in a Tantra. So therefore, there's the part of the Guru Yoga, and then we have these yidams, the mantras integrated. So now, within the yidams, now here we have many different students have many different layers. So we thought maybe is it just good to have some kind of connections with the yidams. If you do too many, high yoga tantras and yidams, and maybe is how you say, too luxury. I don't know, maybe too much. So I think it's good enough, some connection. So individuals who don't have tantric empowerment is not empowerment of those deities, not mandatory. But if you recite, encouraged. That's good to recite, doing this. Once you have empowerment, and then part of the accumulation of even, not necessarily part of accumulation, part of a commitment is required to doing that. And doing at this moment, integration of a yidam and a guru, unity, way of viewing and then recitation becomes crucial, okay? Okay. So in Guru Yoga, right now we have a very clear duality view. Me, the disciple, this is my Guru, and this is the Yidam. And we have also a very strong dualistic view, of enlightened body, speech, and mind, very dualistic. So one of the Guru Yoga essential way to seeing is the unity of Yidams. And we have a very distinguishing, this is a Tara, this is a medicine Buddha, this is a this, and Tara is female deity, and medicine Buddha is a male deity, and this kind of very dualistic view. So in Guru Yoga, you have to be, able to view of, go beyond this kind of manifestation. Is not dropping behind, but it's trying to go beyond and trying to see the unity of a Guru, Yidam, the deity, and everything. So this is kind of like the key element of a accumulation of a Guru Yoga. So individual who don't have a receiver Tantra and wants to practice a Guru Yoga, and for that individual, Buddha and the Guru as a unity, as a one thing, none kind of like a dualistic, or Guru and the Buddha is two different things, not two same things. So that's the one thing. Individual when he received the Tantra empowerment, then Guru, the Buddha, the Yidam, to trying to sing a one unity. Okay. So there's a two Chinlap and Ngudup. Chinlap means blessing. Ngudup means obtainment. Okay. And obtainment, Ngudup have a different layers. Chogi Ngudup, Tumoyo Ngudup, supreme obtainment, common obtainment. And it's kind of its own kind of different, this all kind of obtainment is the inner realization process. Okay. So okay. Okay, so that's okay. This is okay. Let's do the Ngondro, okay? Me stop talking. Let's recite the mantra, okay? Om Guru Vajradhara Vagendra Sumadhi Chasanandara Samu Shibhadra Sarvasiddhi Om Guru Vajradhara Vagendra Sumadhi Chasanandara Samu Shibhadra Sarvasiddhi Om Guru Vajradhara Vagendra Sumadhi Chasanandara Samudra Shivadra Sarvasiddhi Om Guru Vajradhara Vagendra Sumadhi Chasanandara Samudra Shivadra Sarvasiddhi Om Guru Vajradhara Vagendra Sumadhi Chasanandara Samudra Shivadra Sarvasiddhi Guru Vajradhara Vagendra Sumadhi Chasanandara Samudra Shivadra Sarvasiddhi Guru Vajradhara Vagendra Sumadhi Chasanandara Samudra Shivadra Sarvasiddhi Om Guru Vajradhara Vagendra sa samudra shibandra sawa sidi Tayata Om Muni Muni Ma Muni So 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 Tayata 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 Muni Muni Ma Muni So Ayada Muni Muni Ma Muni So Ayada Muni Muni Ma Muni So Na Muni Muni Ma Muni So Ayada Muni Muni Ma Muni So Ayada Muni Muni Ma Muni So Om Mani Beme 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 Om Dare Dudare Dure So 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 Om Dare Dudare Dure So. Om Dare Dudare Dure Mama Aya Buni Yana Budin Guru Yeso. Om Dare Dudare Dure Mama Aya Buni Yana Budin Guru Yeso. Dare Dudare Dure Mama Aya Buni Yana Budin Guru Yeso. Om Dare Dudare Dure Mama Aya Buni Yana Budin Guru Yeso. Dare Dure Mama Ya Boni Jana Bodin Guru Yesu. Dare Dure Mama Ya Boni Jana Bodin Guru Yesu. Dare Dure Mama Ya Boni Jana Bodin Guru Yesu. Dare Dure Mama Ya Boni Jana Bodin Guru Yesu. Dare Dure Mama Ya Boni Jana Bodin Guru Yesu. Dare Dure Mama Ya Boni Jana Bodin Guru Yesu. Tayada Om Beganze Ma Beganze Ranza Samogadezo. 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 Ayada Om Beganze Ma Beganze Ranza Samogadezo. Om Bhaja Sattva Samaya Malum
Palaya Bhajara Sattva
Deno Badinja Dedo Me Bhava Suto Kayo Me Bhava Subo Kayo Me Bhava Anurendo Me Bhava Zavade Me Bhayanza Zavaja Suja Me
Sitam
Jiram
Chiyam
Jiram Guru
Guru
Aho Bhagavan
Sarvadada
Gada Vajamani Jimbava Ma Samaya Sadhu Ahum Be Om Bhaja Sarva Samaya Malum Balaya Vaja Sarva Tena Bhadinda Jido Me Bhava Suto Kayo Me Bhava Subho Kayo Me Bhava Anurato Me Bhava Samasiddhi Me Bhayanza Sarva Kama Sujami Siddham Jiyam Guru Aho Bhagava Sarvadada Gada Bhajamami Sabhajeba Ma Samaya Sadhu Ahum Be Om Bhaja Sarva Samaya Malum Balaya Bhaja sarva deno badi dido me bhava sutokayo me bhava suboyayo me bhava anurado me bhava sarva siddhi me bhayanda sarva karma sushami sinam cheyam guru aha Bandavan Sarvata Vajramami Vajrambhava Ma Samaya Sadhu. Okay. Then the dedication.
Por los méritos de estas acciones virtuosas, que puedas rápidamente obtener el estado de un Guru Buda y llevar a todos los seres vivos, sin excepción, al estado de la iluminación.
Okay. So now, again, we did the dedication here. So for now, Guru Yoga accumulation, okay? Guru Yoga accumulation. So we can go in same structure. So now, maybe go through the same way at the beginning. Not necessarily refuge accumulation, but do the refuge. And don't dissolve the refuge. Continue. Transform into merit field, and then do the Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. And after the Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, then we have the mandala. And the mandala, you can do the short version, the one verse version of the mandala. Sashipati. Okay. Do that, and then do the Lama Tsongkhapa, the this one, and the mantra. Recitation, and then dedication. This is the short version. Okay. Relation with the Guru Yoga. Okay? Okay. Now, basically when you have a time to strengthening your, if your Guru Yoga is getting, Guru Yoga becoming weak, then time to time to refreshing, then I want you to encourage doing the foundation of the good quality, then after that you do the accumulation. Okay? So there's these two, in Tibetan there's a way of saying, if you are not able to if you're not able to adapt the situation and flexibility, then you are a crazy ritual master. sometimes ritual master says, this is the way things works, and doesn't really adapt the time and space, and just trying to apply that so much. And this contradicting and doesn't become harmonious. So now we learned through hard way. So let's do this way. Have a more longer version and more condensed version that more is not like a one verse. It's not like so it is have enough energy is there, enough information is there. So now up to individual how much you're going to integrating, okay? So we don't have the too many information, maybe a bit too much. So foundation of the good quality as time, when you have a time, then integrating the foundation of good quality. Okay, now, okay, so now so over here, in accumulation, when you're doing kind of daily basis accumulation, not mandatory to doing the long mandala. Okay, so that's the key thing. Should I do the long mandala or not? From the merit accumulation point of view, when you have time in a space, of course, it's encouraged to doing the long mandala. But when you have a kind of so you need to choose from the beginning, when I'm doing the condensed, I'll do this way. When I'm doing the more extensive, I'm going to do this way. Then keep that routine, okay? So you have a long mandala and the short mandala, two options. Okay. And when you're doing mandala accumulation, again, it's a mandatory, when you're doing mandala accumulation, the first part, the first mandala you're offering, do the longer version. Then the actual accumulation part, you do the short verse mandala. Then at the end, if you're doing like a 7 or 4 or 5, whatever, the first and the last do the longer version of the mandala, and then the middle you do all the short version of the mandala. So mandala accumulation is usually anyway, this is good. This is a good way to do it. And doing after the Guru Yoga, and went through the 7 limb process exactly, then doing this time, doing the mandala accumulation is perfect, okay? So the foundation of the good quality is also integrated into the part of the Ngondro accumulation, because this gives foundation of the good quality, gives all the lamrim structure. It gives all the lamrim structure. So individual Ngondro practitioner also need to orientate it quite well. All the lamrim is almost like a review meditation. It's almost a review meditation, integration with your inspiration, what you're seeking for realization. So foundation of good quality is a really important practice. But, sometimes, time and this kind of things, so I would say make it optional, okay? Okay, so today, let's do firstly do the foundation of good quality. We go one by one, yeah. Yeah.
Que el bondadoso y sagrado Gurú es el fundamento de todas las buenas cualidades y que la confianza adecuada en el Gurú es la raíz del sendero, pido bendiciones para confiar en el Gurú con gran respeto nacido del esfuerzo constante.
Okay, so while you are reflecting what you recited, so during that time I will give the oral transmission of the foundation of the good quality. Okay? Yonde Gwinji shi Jordan Jenjen Sujen Dembalam Gezawano Labara Tonin Beba Domai Kuba Chimbu Dembara Chingi Lo. Okay, what is the next?
Reconociendo la rareza y gran significación de este precioso renacimiento humano, que es la maravillosa base de una oportunidad obtenida solamente una vez, pido bendiciones para generar ininterrumpidamente de día y de noche la mente que busca solo lo que es esencial para obtener el Budado.
Linji Nibe Tave Tensang de Shindo Nyega Tunjin She June Ninzengundo Ningbo Lembelo Gunje Meba Kebara Chingi Lo.
Recordando que la muerte rápidamente destruirá mi inconstante cuerpo y mi vida, que son como burbujas en un arroyo. Yo, obteniendo un firme reconocimiento de que los efectos de mis acciones blancas y negras me seguirán después de mi muerte como la sombra de un cuerpo, pido bendiciones para cuidarme de evitar aún las faltas más sutiles y para lograr solo lo que es virtuoso.
Luso Yohan Chuji Chogo Jen Yurdo Jigwe Chiwa Tembadon Shiwi Jesu Ludan Timaji Kana Lende Chishin Tambala Nyeba Tembo Nine Nyebeso Chashin Chawan Nam Jambon Wadan Gizo Tadan Druba Jebala Takto Paktan Dembara Chingi Lo. Okay.
Consciente de las desventajas de los bienes mundanos por ser insatisfactorios al ser consumidos, poco confiables y la puerta a todo sufrimiento, pido bendiciones para generar el gran esfuerzo por el gozo de la liberación.